There is power behind every story we carry within. Every tragedy, no, yes, laugh, victory. And every testimony that is incubated within our souls have power. The power to transform, from tragedy to crown, from obstacle to opportunity. And all the moments in between make us wiser. Watch Candid Conversations with Charisa for impactful, unheard moments that will certainly spark your power and inner truth to shift, heal, and restore your life. It's time to get real, uncover, unlock, unpack, set free, and increase the dialogue to change a life. We all start somewhere and end in places of destiny. Get ready for the long-awaited Candid Conversations with Charisa.
Hey family, Candid Conversations with Charisa is back and we are about to be lit. The conversation is continuing. We are continuing to be raw, deep, real, and transparent and transformational. We are going to start off this season talking about love and marriage, dedicated to all of my married couples and those aspiring to be married. Then we're going to get into dating and sex for all my single couples. And then we are going to talk about forgiveness, because forgiveness is not about the other person. It is for you. We're going to talk about isolation. We're going to talk about the benefits of sometimes being alone. We're going to talk about putting you first and why that is so much more important for you to start influencing others. Then we're going to talk about how you are the creator of all of your creation, needing no permission to do what you want to do and can do. Then I am going to give you a sneak peek and follow up on me actually going home, where I was able to get the freedom that I need. So pull up a chair. Every Thursday, we're going to be here on YouTube watching Candid Conversation with Charisa, a show that was created just for you. I am so excited to have you both, Ed and Alaina. Thank you so much for joining me on Candid Conversations with Charisa. And we are now running season 3. And I wanted to dedicate this next 4 episodes, 4 weeks of February, to love and marriage. And you know, Valentine's happened this month, and so everyone is centered around love, love, love. But I think sometimes people lose what love really is. And then there are a lot of marriages that are struggling right now. And I'm a newlywed, you're even more newlywed, and there has to be something that we can do to help each other. So I just kind of wanted us to have a candid, like literally a candid, open, transparent, authentic conversation about what love and marriage, not what it really is, because really what it's been for us. And one thing I'm learning, like one of the theme that I want to use is what they didn't tell me, what they didn't say. They told me a lot pre-marriage, premarital counseling. I spoke to marriage friends before who had been married for years, and they give you advice, they tell you what to do. But there's a lot they didn't tell me. Let me tell you what you didn't tell me, because what you told me, it may have been true for you, but it was a lie to me, if we're gonna be real honest. So, kind of want to have that conversation. So tell me a little bit about you guys, how you met, how long you've been married. Let me first say congratulations on this new bundle of joy that will be joining us. So yeah.
Outstanding. Well, I mean, it's fine with me. How did we link up? I was a gigolo and a shake dancer. You know, I'm from Atlanta. We from Atlanta, and so you know, it's the home of the booty clubs, if you will. And Alaina was there one night, you know, just making it rain, and she showered me with so much love. I said, "Listen, this is the one. I just gotta lock this down." And so we.
Now, for those that may not know, when you say you were a gigolo, are you being honest? First of all.
No.
Okay.
I got some stories, but that's not my thing. That's not my thing.
Well, so you remind me of my husband, right? So people would ask him his name, and he can be a real character sometimes. So he'll, you know, they're serious focus. You know, what's your name? Do you want my stage name or do you want my real name?
Right.
Really, baby? With the stage name, and he has his stage name, Big Sexy the Giant Killer, and all this kind of stuff. And so he used to be a dancer before, like, you know, they'll ask him, what have you, you know, what do you do?
Right.
And he'll say, how does he put it? either he wants to know what do I do during the day or what I do at night, or what I do, and what he does at night doesn't even exactly. So you're saying male gigolo? I'm thinking to myself, oh man, he had a life before.
But they too far away from the idea.
Now that we know, we don't have to explain gigolo. Okay.
No, but and that's my guy. You know, he and I, we connect on Sam Cooke, and it's funny because Alaina's dad was sing Sam Cooke and play Sam Cooke a lot. So one of the early, I guess, dates or whatever that we went on, I was singing Sam Cooke, and you said something about, you know, that just let her know, like, okay.
Yeah, I feel like my dad, his presence was there. It was like a confirmation that this is a great guy. So
yeah, I think I was a sugar dumpling. Oh, okay. You're my baby. I love you in every way. Yeah, so
continue. Oh my God.
No, it's all good. Yeah. It's all good.
Okay, one of many talents. Okay, I see you.
But no, we were in high school. We went to high school together in Stone Mountain at a school called Stevenson, where I'm still a chaplain. And well, she wasn't a shake dancer, but she was on the drill team, which is the dance team.
But on the dance line.
Yeah, and I played ball, and I was actually dating one of her, I don't know, associates, teammates with dance line or what have you at the time. Well, I know you thought it was a little deeper than what it was.
I thought it was his high school sweetheart, so he has corrected me over and over about this. So it was just high school romance, or I guess puppy love. It wasn't love. I don't know. Anyway, they dated.
Yeah. So time goes on, life, etc. And then, you know, I was previously married. And so I was going through divorce. And, you know, I take relationships pretty serious, you feel me? And so traveling, I decided to hit the road and do like this divorce tour. Probably never heard of that before. I made it up. And, you know, so what's funny is that when people get married, we want to invite everybody, all these things, showers with gifts, all of that. But if the marriage doesn't work out, or if you're having complications within the marriage, people tend to say, stay out of our marriage, this ain't none of your business, you can't tell me this, you know, all those type of things. And I've never agreed with that. I felt that marriage is a communal thing, because you invite the community in when it seems to be great, but then when things aren't, and a lot of times when things aren't going well, people are trying to control the situation and don't want someone's influence because of, you know, dealing with whatever guilt and all, you follow me. So I just felt the responsibility to at least let my family know and hear it from me, you know, if there's any questions, any dialogue, etc. I didn't want to just do that on the phone. So I literally drove up the East Coast, because both of our families are rooted in North Carolina. So I went to a couple of my cousins, uncles' houses, etc. And it was during the Thanksgiving season. So that was kind of cool. We feasting while I'm sharing this news with them. And then one of my best friends is in DC. So I went up there and had a meal with he and his fiance at the time. And she was considering me to officiate their wedding, but she's like, this man's going through a divorce. I don't know if I want that or not. So I got it. And I didn't really know her like that. So while we were up there, we were eating, etc. His name is Fernando. He's scrolling through social and comes across Alaina's page. And it's like, yeah, you know, I bumped into her at the airport or whatever. I'm looking, I'm like, oh man, it's lit, you know? So I DM'd her from his page and was like, hey, you know, I'm gonna be in, had to slide in, you feel me? And I was actually going to Florida next to continue my divorce tour.
And I was living in Miami at the time.
So we just coordinated times. I shot down there, and our first date, ended up being the first date, was going to church. Where were you at, Antioch?
No, was it Antioch?
Yeah, I think it was Antioch. Pastor Jackson, yeah.
Pastor Jackson, yeah.
So we went to church there. While we out at church, I mean, after church, we go to eat, and I'm sharing divorce pictures with her. Like,
but I'm not realizing this divorce. I'm like, oh, this is a nice wedding, you know, whatever. We're just catching up as friends. So the whole time, I'm not really realizing he's like, I guess, assessing the situation. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, you know, afterwards, riding, leaving, or what have you, I shared some words with her to kind of, your words.
It just, I was speechless. I was, yeah, I was really speechless. I was caught off guard. I felt really hot and anxious, but not like hot and bothered, you know. I just didn't really know what to do because I was not expecting him to share that he was interested in me. So.
And I understood the emotional roller coaster could be. I'm just showing these wedding pictures, then I hit it with this.
Like,
but I just planted the seed, and then we just, let it grow over the last 5-6 years now. And so that's our start.
So high school, dated 5 years, married
4 or 5 months.
5 months. Yeah, 5 months.
We share the same wedding
same day,
which is amazing. Just a different year. So so you dated 5 years before you got married. I dated about a year and a half before I got married. But of course I was much older. And so we don't come from that era at our age where we got married the age my parents got married. They were 24, 25, 23 when they got married. And they dated for 6 years, 7 years, before that. By the time I got married or I found the person that I was going to marry, it's almost like when you know. So we dated a year and a half, and somewhere in between we just knew, oh yeah, this is what we want. And people questioned, oh, you've only been married, you've only been dating this long, are you sure? First of all, stay out of my business.
There you go.
Hello.
There you go.
Second of all, yes, at my age, and you know because you would have been in a few relationships before. So if nothing else, what you don't want. So enough about me. So you're 5 years in, you're 5 years to marriage, 5 months in. How has those 5 months been? And I know a lot of people don't know, and they may know by now. So Ed, you're a pastor. And I appreciate that you're a pastor, because I appreciate that even though you're a pastor, you're a human first. You're a man first. You have all these other titles, if you will, before we get to pastor. So your pastor as a title has very little to do with who you are to Alaina, who you're going to be to this baby, who you're going to be to your marriage. And I want people to get to understand and see that even as a pastor, you're still human. You're still man. You're still imperfect. There should be no expectations. Maybe there is a certain level of responsibility on you because you carry that title, but like you're still real. You're still real. You're still touchable. You still get to have this. So we're setting the pastor aside, but we're also not going to forget it. And we just want to talk to like Ed.
For sure.
I want to talk to my brother sitting here. So 5 years into this new marriage, how has that been? Because people get to see you and I looking beautiful and smiling, like to see you looking handsome and smiling, and they get to see us laughing, and we talk about our spouses, but they don't get to see what happens when these cameras are off and when my makeup is off. They don't get to see what happens behind closed doors, when we're upset, when you may have said something I don't like. They don't get, like, they just think that things are always good all the time. That's because that's what we show. We've been brought up and taught, especially as pastors' kids, to the outside should never know what's happening on the inside. We can fuss and fight out here, but when we get up there, we have to be perfect and on one. They don't get to really understand that sometimes behind these smiles, there is dissatisfaction. There is unhappiness. And so there are a lot of people that are hurting in silence. There are a lot of people that are unhappy in silence. And I think the best way sometimes to deal with, at least for me, with sometimes what goes on behind closed doors, is to share with someone who, man, we were going through the same thing. How did you do that? How have you guys been working through that? And this is what I did. Well, this is what I did and didn't work. Not saying that your method is going to work for me, but if nothing else, just to know that I'm not alone. You're not alone. And like my husband, as soon as he finds a guy that appreciates his way of thinking, oh, let me tell you, he loves that joining. He loves that. See, I told you, I'm not the only man. I'm not the only, So you're not alone. We're not alone.
Gotcha.
So how's this 5 months been in this first newlywed season of your marriage?
You want to say it all?
Yes, sure. I think it's been exciting. I mean, things have happened really fast. Like, I mean, faster than I even imagined. All good things. So we got married. had a great honeymoon, which we weren't really sure if we were going to have a honeymoon because of the pandemic, right? Conceived the baby, right? First I'm missing this. We got back from the honeymoon. I had to. So we're based in Atlanta. I had to fly to California, and I think was it maybe 2 weeks later, a week or so later, I got a promotion.
Yeah.
So now I'm vice president. So I have these titles that I think I'm prepared for. I'm praying about. I get a moment like, oh God, am I ready for this? And it's like, okay, obviously I am, because it wouldn't happen if it weren't by design. So for me, it's been exciting. It's been challenging because now I'm a wife, mother-to-be. I'm a vice president. So there's a lot of responsibility there. I think we're still working through like the system of day-to-day life. To be very transparent, I'm not as tidy as he would like me to be. And I know that's very big for him.
You and I do.
So yeah. And I'd rather go to sleep. It was like, I'm tired, I'm out. And he's like a night owl. He's gonna get it done. He's very systematic. So I think some of the daily living is an area we're still trying to figure out and work through. And then now that he's launched a book and, you know, we're looking at businesses together, selling and buying property, I'm also trying to understand how I can best support him in his vision. So overall, it is highly recommended. 5 stars.
Yeah, that's been your thing.
5 stars, that's my thing. But it's exciting, but it comes with a lot of responsibilities. So that's my piece.
That's your truth. That's it. For me, it's a little different because, like I said, I've been down the wedding aisle, the street, or whatever before. You know, but that's a marriage I should never been in the first place. You know, and well aware of that. And so was my team, a camp, a family, whatever. But as far as Alaina and I, you know, for me, it's pretty fluid. I think I've grown through enough things that, one, the challenge I see in most relationships, as a relationship coach even, is a measure of control. And if you can get over control, if somebody can get over control, then that's a big win because it changes a lot of stuff. And so, you know, as you mentioned, you know, I am regimented, etc. And I sit back and I'm just like, you know what, this worked for me, so I'm gonna keep doing it because it works for me. And this continues to allow me to be successful, have freedom of mind, whatever the case may be. But if it's not Alaina's way of working, I really don't speak on it unless it's like some intersection where it's just like, okay, this is really a big problem. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, like I give an example. You know, if we go out of town or if we do something like today, coming in and doing this shoot or what have you, if we would have had to bring like a full wardrobe, bags and stuff, whatever, packed, etc., then great. We done brought our luggage in, we do what we do. When we get home, it can be 1 in the morning if we don't want to eat after the taping, or it can be 6, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna break all of that down and put it back where it's supposed to be. Because I don't like carrying yesterday into today. So I don't want to wake up tomorrow and have to do it, because the thing about it, tomorrow gonna have its own issues, and tomorrow's gonna turn into next Thursday before that bag gets unpacked.
Which is what's happening
right now. It's like a bag that's still packed from last weekend in Miami. I ain't said nothing about it, because guess what? It don't matter to me. It did, but it's like she got to work through that. So this morning, you follow me, as we get ready to go, I had Ease getting dressed. But she's going back through, well, what did I leave there? It didn't affect me at all, because I got what I need and I'm ready to go. You feel me? So, you know, it allows me to have freedom of mind. And you know, I'll stay up and look at tomorrow, put down all my things to do list, all that kind of stuff. So when I go to sleep, I'm dead to the world. I'm asleep, fully comatose. If I wake up to use the restroom or something, her little light on her phone is up. Because as she mentioned, she's gotten this promotion. But the whole time we were dating, she don't sleep well. You know, she's having to take little things, you know, keep it real light in that space. But, you know, to go to sleep. I don't struggle with that because I learned how to let my mind empty so I can go to sleep. And so I make suggestions. Like, hey, I think you should try to do this. And she, well, no, I got my little tea and my little calm stuff and my little, and if I take this, I don't need none of that. You a crackhead. I'm just you know, just respectfully. You know, because these are certain measures, but I just had to learn, if I try to force that, that's gonna feel like control. It's gonna feel like I'm being a daddy or something like that. Look, I'm available. That's what I am. I'm not gonna control nothing. I'm gonna be available. You follow me? Do what works for you. And it's not all to put down. Alaina has some really good best practice. She didn't get to where, you know, you didn't get to certain places for no reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I observe certain things as well, and it's like, okay, that's dope. All right, yeah. So a strength that you have is the foreshadowing of what's to come. Like, she's already looking at May, June, whatever. Me, I'm a visionary. So I'll look at the whole year, and then I'm gonna plug in the right now, and I'm gonna go, you know, and I'm gonna give it I'm trying to maximize every moment while being present in every moment. You follow me? So I do glean that off of you. You know, it's okay, she's okay, this, but that's the strategic part, if you will. I'm a visionary and a tactician. So I'm high and then here, and you know, you're strategic, so it's here. She's good with taking the vision, you know, from her CEO or whoever directors are, and then implementing that. So I think that's a good sandwich right there. I got the two buns, come on, clearly, and then we got the meat in the middle, and it works out. But yeah, I mean, it's really been fluid for me, and I think, you know, with dating that amount of time, not too much is gonna change, you know, when you become married. I think that a super shock in becoming married is when persons haven't been involved within a home or living space. And so it's like you literally go, which is the way we're supposed to do it. Here, I want to be clear. You know, you go from your independence, your familial connections, and then, you know, you leave and cleave. Our generation, as you mentioned, first of all, we're getting married later. We're having kids later. I mean, to be honest, I don't, this is one thing with having children later, that's not anything I ever wanted. You know, I would have preferred to have been married younger. Two things. One, was I really ready for it? I was wilding out. So, no, you know what I'm saying, gigoloing, you feel me? All of that. And then just other things that have transpired in life, whatever. So we're here now by God's design, and I celebrate it. But we do think like, okay, we got a few days on us, you know, and I don't think about just seeing our children. We'll see them clearly, but I think about seeing that third generation and being active with that third and potentially that fourth generation. You know what I mean?
I think we all want, I think I even had a fantasy however many years ago, 10, 12 years ago, that I would be married at the same age my mom got married, 24, 25. I could remember I wrote it down in the book, who my bridesmaids would be, how many kids I would have, who my groomsmen would be, like my groomsmen, like everyone. Like I had this fantasy written down, and I
had one too, but
and I was younger.
I didn't write it down. Oh,
it was written down,
one too.
saying at 25 I would be married. I got married on the other side of 35, and it's different because you come with so much baggage. You come with so much baggage. Your husband, your spouse comes with so much baggage. Then you want to talk kids, so now you have that physical risk against you. There's just so much, like you said, there's so much responsibility and so much to think about. But like you say, was I ready? Would I have been ready? If I had found someone, would he have been ready? If I had met my husband 12 years ago, the person he was 12 years ago, I would not have been interested in.
There's no way I would have been ready at all.
No
way. We would not be here. So
timing is everything. Like had I met him even 2 years before, he would not have been, like I would not have seen him. And I met my husband a few times, according to him, and I did not see him. Did not, but he saw me, but I did not see him. And I'm happy I didn't, because the fact that I didn't means I wasn't ready, it wasn't our time. But when I saw him, I saw him. When I heard him, I heard him. So what do you guys do for fun? Like, what do you like to do for fun together and separate? Like, how do you balance the, I want to do some things with you, but I'm perfectly fine with myself?
Eat, yes. Fine dining, please. It don't have to always be fine. But if it's not food involved, please do not call me. And he knows this. Loves to eat. One thing I wish we would do together more, but I'm not going to go deep into that, is cooking. but I realize that's more something I really enjoy. And we'll stop it with that.
No, I think cook.
Can he cook?
Cooking. I think
he can cook.
Let me keep it real. I can cook to live.
Yes.
Oh Lord, you're one of those. Okay.
I can cook to maintain and survive. You feel me?
No gourmet.
No.
Listen. Come on, man. Listen.
It's gonna be tuna and rice for the rest of your life. It's very basic.
No, I try some different things, but it just ain't gonna. It's gonna be. It ain't. Listen, we all right. I think that cooking, and you know this, is a patience challenge for you.
It is.
Because I'm precise. So it's if the timing is 15 minutes, it's probably going to take me 25 or 30 to do, whatever that means. So, and all of that. So, it's all good. We here.
So she takes
So maybe, I think when the baby comes, maybe there's like baking or something we can do together. But right now, it's like kind of my wheelhouse. I hold it down. And I enjoy dining experiences. So, that's my thing. We also move. We love movies. That's one thing we do. Travel. We haven't traveled as much. We've traveled enough because of the pandemic, but we used to travel a lot more. I'm trying to think what else.
Speaking of the pandemic, how have you fared as a couple during the pandemic? Now, you've only been married 5 months, but the pandemic has been going on at least for the last 18, 20.
Seems like forever.
And so a lot of marriages have suffered. Some have gotten better, but then some have suffered. How have you fared, even as a couple before, during, before marriage, post marriage? How have you fared during this time?
I really haven't seen much difference, to be quite honest.
Between the two of you?
Between the two of us. I will say, thank God we are very healthy in general, right? And so I still recall when the pandemic first started, and I don't think we weren't really even considered in a pandemic at this point. It's like when we got the first news of something going on in Seattle, I got really sick. I was sick for, 2 weeks? And again, we're healthy. I don't get sick often. He doesn't get sick often. He took the best care of me ever. I don't even know if my mom would have taken that much care, to be quite honest. No shade to my mom, but he's just extremely thoughtful and intentional. And he was that when I needed him the most. Fast forward, he ended up getting sick. I don't think his run wasn't as long as like 2 weeks.
Did she take care of you the same way you took care of her?
She tried to. She was working, so it was a little different.
I was multitasking.
But you did a good job.
And how did the marriage fare?
This was before the marriage.
Yeah.
So how did your marriage fare during?
Well, it kind of goes back to what I was sharing before, just about the difference in dating now versus over time, if you will. I mean, when you get into that space and you've been dating for a couple of years, it's like some of the faith-based guidelines start to get blurred. Let's just be honest, because you start doing life together a lot more than that incubator period. You follow me? So, at one point she was living with her parents for a second, and then I had my apartment, I had my house, etc. And then she had her townhouse, I had my house, etc. But I mean, you got 30-minute drive in between, things of that nature. So you might end up staying over 2-3 days, or vice versa, and you go home for a week. And you know what I'm saying? So all of that kind of stuff just being real. By the time we get to the point of being married, some little idiosyncrasies and things of that nature, you kind of navigate it through, if you will. So it's not like, I can imagine, with y'all, it may have been more of a light switch kind of thing. With us, it was more like a little dimmer raising or what have you. You know what I'm saying? In that transition. So with the pandemic, I mean, we couldn't go anywhere. I'm over there for like a week, maybe 2 weeks, or vice versa. Most I was going over her town. She didn't really like come my space, but I'm more pivotal, if you will. But so. I mean, it just, for me, it was like a big sleepover. And still kind of is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's a good way to look at that.
Yeah.
That's a good way to look. Perspective is everything. Perspective is everything. And my husband and I had to isolate during the holidays, during Christmas.
Oh.
And like you say, the big sleepover. My aunt would say, y'all supposed to be the only two who's supposed to be isolating, and you're never home. Like we found things to do. Like at a sleepover, you make it fun. And so I actually like that. Like a lot of people look at it like that versus, oh, I'm stuck in these four walls with you and I don't know what this look like, and I'm used to being to work, so now they're home. The kids are they're used to the kids being gone, so now the kids are there. So there's this adjustment period. My husband and I had to go through this adjustment period of, we were once individuals, well, independent individuals, we were once single, and now we're together. Now you're talking about us being together in a time where we can't go anywhere and do anything, and so it grounded us, but it also grounded me, because he met me traveling and doing ministry back and forth, and so it grounded me to actually be home more versus not being there, and which I think actually was good for the adjustment that we needed in our new marriage. And I don't think people fare well with that adjustment period, because it challenges you. It challenges you. It tests you.
Can I say something to that?
Sure.
So, relationships, what they say, only about 20% of a person is actually going to change or adjust. You follow me? And relationships are more so, or less about what the other person does, and more so about our response to a person.
To what they do.
But it's relationships that test who we are. But when we think about it, it's just like any other event in life. So the way I look at it is like, you know what? How am I going to continue to adjust or speak to what's going on? Because it's a continual thing, and like they say, don't make the person the problem, let the problem be the problem. I mean, everybody keeps saying, y'all ain't gonna get no sleep. Y'all life finna totally change.
Oh no, we getting sleep.
When such and such slides out, but it's so I'm gonna say, well, the baby is the problem. No, this is a part of the growth. It's what comes with the title. It's what comes with the role. It's the responsibility. And so, as you mentioned, you have people who, now they're at home, children running around or this, or you with your spouse, and you realize you've been with this person 8 years, you don't like them, all that. But it's still just, it's how do we pivot and cycle through this? And some things won't work. But, when we in close quarters or whatever, we decide, hey, well, we got more time, go for a walk around the neighborhood. We were doing things like that. We started setting up, working out in the gym, just finding ways to become active, and it's really what it's supposed to be. That the home should be that factory in the production house. I kind of go back to, and we talk about this, going back to the basics of humanity before we had all this technology, before we had cars and life started moving so fast. When I think about my grandparents and those who, we got a chance to watch, who didn't have what we have access to, but they were much more stable. They were a lot more rooted, a lot more grounded, and a lot less distracted.
Less distraction.
You remember? You remember when I was in the apartment and the power went out. The power was out for like 2 or 3 days. So some storm came through, and I remember the news, like, when people don't know what they're going to do, and I'm like, this is great. I lit them candles, and it was awesome. I'm saying, like, people don't know how to just rotate their mind and say, really, we're saving power right now.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Really, I got an excuse to do nothing. And it can be scary for some folks to have quiet.
And stillness, yeah.
Which is so important.
We got this thing we talk about, that uncomfortable silence. A lot of couples deal with. A lot of couples deal with if it's quiet in the house, or you ever hang out with some people, or let's say you and I, we just met, we ride in the car. Greetings, salutations, all this stuff. How was the trip? How was this? How was your flight? All that kind of stuff. You get past that little 15 minutes of small talk, then it gets quiet. See that discomfort that may creep in? People don't know how to just let it be quiet. We don't struggle with that.
At all.
We can be quiet.
And I had to learn that.
And it's actually comforting.
Yeah.
I had to learn to, because my husband is that way. He likes to use his car especially as his, what I'm going to call his classroom, his school, his thinking. And we were together a lot when we were going places. And so I'm not a chatterbox, but I like talking. Like I take that time and I want to, let's talk about us. Let's talk about our marriage. Let's talk about the stuff we're going through. Oh, let's talk about whatever it is we're working on. And he just wants to say nothing. And anyway, it took me a long while, but a good while, to realize that sometimes being quiet is okay. Like, he is happy
fine
with you just being there.
It don't mean nothing is
and
wrong.
not
It ain't mean nobody got no
nothing.
attitude. Nobody.
And I'm like, exactly. I'm like, oh, so you don't want to talk to me? Like, you don't have nothing to say to me? Like, nothing. It used to be something. But again, I'm perfectly fine if I get in an Uber, say hi to me, and let that be the last thing you say to me.
Yes.
We need to have no conversation. I need to know where I going, why I going to the airport, why I going to the mall.
Where I'm from.
It's okay.
Yeah.
We could just, I'm gonna tip you regardless. Don't worry. But sometimes they want to have big conversation, and I'm like, I'm in my phone, just
and for
say
me,
nothing.
Sometimes that's my moment of peace before I'm going into
prep.
meetings.
Exactly, because I
And
already
I'm
know.
preparing.
And my husband would tell me, oh, you're not friendly, and oh, that's because I love people. Really? No, we're just different. And sometimes those differences can mean dysfunction, which is not the case. Why can't they literally just be intertwined? Like, you're different and I'm different. And I'm saying this now, but I'm learning this now. Like, I'm not sitting here learned already. No, I am learning that even though we're different doesn't make us incompatible. It literally just means that, like, we can intertwine more versus being the same, and we can't do anything.
Organized chaos.
Exactly. Exactly. So I want to finish with, there's one question that came in from my community, and I wanted to ask, how would you encourage someone who wants to know? How do you know that someone is your life partner? So the question is, how do you know if someone is your life partner? And is that even possible? Is that a thing?
So for me, I wasn't completely sure, but there was always something.
Don't crowd my girl. Don't intimidate her.
No, I'm trying to make sure this mic can pick up on this.
So for my dating life was never great at all. Had some fun boyfriends, but they were just all trash, to be quite honest. I mean, they were trash. And so I was a bit tainted, but I knew something about him was very different, and it felt good. Like, for instance, when he met me for our first, which I thought was just reconnection, ended up being the first date. When we met at church, I was already sitting at church, and he walked up, and he put his arm on my shoulder, and it was just an overwhelming sense of peace. I'll never forget it. I've never felt that before, never felt it again. I mean, I'm always very peaceful with him, but I still remember that, and it sits with me, right? Even when I was like, not really sure, he was always very upfront with who he was from the beginning, very consistent, very considerate, but I was thinking, this can't be right. Men are dogs. Like, he's a man. He has to be a dog. But deep down inside, I always knew there was something about him that I needed to hold on to and figure out a bit more while I cleaned up my mess. I was messy, okay? I was. So it was just a feeling deep down inside that I couldn't shake. And then I had little checks of reassurance throughout. So it was the placing of the hand on my shoulder, like remembering that, the Sam Cooke song. Him being extremely, extremely pivotal in me developing and growing as a woman. And I never really, some women like, I'm praying for my man. I never did that. The thing I prayed men out of my life. But I always knew I wanted someone who was stronger than me, and not just physically, but spiritually, mentally, etc. He's the only one that's ever met that checkbox, ever. So, yeah, it was a few things.
Which are good. Which are good. Because people, so what I hear is, when someone brings you peace, and someone is able to bring you a level of comfort, you've been someone who doesn't remind you of messy. And I think that's good, because there are a lot of women who sometimes I don't think that they even know what to look for. Men don't know what to look for.
Don't, because they've never seen different.
In a life partner. And so at least you knew, and even if you didn't know, you felt it. I think it's good.
Solid. I won't go down the checklist. I'll just say one thing, the word I used often. I just felt at home.
Yeah.
So.
Which should equate to peace. And I know one of the things my husband always reminds me is the number one thing a man is looking for is peace. When he can't find that, he is on the run.
Better is it to have a little bit on the roof than to be in a mansion with somebody that's getting on your nerves.
Amen. We will end there. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you
for gracing this platform with your knowledge, with your information. I know I've taken home one or two things. So I know that
I call them crown jewels.
Exactly, gems. So I know that somebody else is gonna definitely be changed.
Awesome.
Thank you both.
Thank you too.
Thank you.
Thank you.